People that have been contributing a lot for the development of psytrance. Regan is the head of Nano Records, which is one of the most important labels in the last decade of psychedelic trance, the house of many of the most important artists, and also an independent label that has been striving a lot to deliver high quality music with a lot of diversity. So thank you so much, Regan, to come back to Boom. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
And we also have System 7. Words are not enough to describe how much influence these guys have been on the 30 years almost as a name of music and of electronic music. We are super honored to have them again at Boom, and also very honored to have them on the panel. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're actually still buzzing from playing a couple of hours ago on a dance cymbal, so...
All right, so I can start. Did you guys listen to them?
Yeah.
Did you dance?
Yeah.
So we are lucky enough that System 7 and Regan, they played already, so they just have time to enjoy the festival. I can start with you, Steve. About you've been involved with the music scene for many decades, from the 70s, and you witness from the very core, let's say the advent of psychedelic culture on the music. And as we all know, psychedelic music is very wide. It comes from jazz with Sun Ra, it goes to funk, it goes to techno, it goes to rock. There is a huge diversity of psychedelic music worldwide. How do you see the main differences as an artist on how in the way of artists looking at the psychedelia as a culture to express themselves through music, compared with the 70s, 80s, 90s, and nowadays?
That's quite a big question. Well, psychedelic art, psychedelic music is all about the link between artistic output and human consciousness, and the expansion and development of human consciousness. Obviously, this was jet propelled in the 1960s with the sort of whole revolution of LSD, etc. And we were very much involved in it in the 70s in the group Gong, and then our own things. I think psychedelic music, psychedelic rock music went into a kind of doldrums in the 80s, and we were part, in a way, in London of the sort of move from psychedelic art musically moved to electronics. It was actually in the sort of early to mid 80s it first started. And then obviously that had a new explosion with what was sometimes referred to as acid house in the late 80s. And then it made a particular evolution into what we now call psytrance. So for us it's just a sort of direct line, really.
Yeah, and it's cool because you've been participating and co-creating with people as diverse as The Orb or Derek May, and also a lot of psychedelic trance artists. So do you think that and I can extend also to Miket, the whole creative status of psytrance nowadays, do you think is as rich as, for instance, in the early 90s where everything was very new? How do you compare both decades, let's say?
Well, it lost a bit the novelty factor, but there weren't amazing events like this in the 90s, so you could say it sort of matured and got onto a new level. And one of the things most amazing about Boom Festival is this incredible sense of community and harmony with all the people here. I mean, it really is totally inspiring. And, if that is a reflection of where we've come to with the psytrance music movement, I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing. And, let's keep going,
I agree.
All right. Regan, you have been also very active on the development of the psytrance with a lot of artists, with you as a label, involved in the UK, involved in South Africa. You've always been very important on, let's say, on the globalization of psytrance, bringing up artists from South Africa to be played worldwide. How do you, let's say, tell us something about the beginning of the scene in South Africa and how did it reach there? Because it was one of the most important points in the world ever, always. It has always been an epicenter of psytrance. Tell us something about the social impact of the culture over there.
In Cape Town, particularly, where it's really strong, and obviously it's grown massively around other parts of South Africa now too. When it was mid-90s, as the psytrance scene and Goa trance was coming into South Africa, I remember very clearly, and there were a couple of DJs coming down from overseas, bringing this music. Small parties started to evolve, grew bigger, got more popular. But I think also the timing of the end of apartheid as well was really integral for us as well, because as a nation people suddenly felt really free. And it was perfect timing to have this expression of, oh wow, okay, we can all party together, we can really get along. And I think in that spirit, which is naturally within the psytrance, the Goa trance scene, globally anyway, and I hope it continues to be that. It just fell into place. And then, as it evolved, we've got the beautiful nature and location, so the parties became very popular. Currently in Cape Town, it's probably more popular than any other dance music, because who want to go to a nightclub when you can go to a beautiful outdoor venue and spend your weekend there? So I think the tying in of nature and this continued sense of community, a lot of people who are there regularly, like Boom. We come here and we see friends that I've seen for 10 years, and we come back and, hey, how are you doing? It's that same sense when we come here. It's all people joining in. Besides the fact that it's a great party, in Cape Town. We've also got, and I think it's also worldwide, there's some events which are more family, more psychedelic, and others which are slightly more pop. Still the same music. But they're different organisers and promoters who are approaching it in a different way, different sensitivities. And we're lucky to have a lot of the organisers in South Africa. Everyone communicates, so there is a family there, even at times when, like any families, people have arguments, but people get through it. And there is a lot of working together, and I think that's what strengthened it massively. We haven't had, in other countries, people having, promoters putting events on other guys' dates just to mess with them, kind of thing. It doesn't really happen thus far, touch wood.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. So I think we can learn a lot from that globally as well. As you guys have done. You're great organisers, like working with Azora and coming to agreement and stuff, the dates and stuff. It's beautiful. It shows that as a community worldwide, we're working together.
Yeah.
If we can work on that level, surely we can work on every other level.
Good. Yeah, one of the things that also psytrance has been developing so wide is a huge lifestyle, social, cultural phenomenon that has always been very peripheral to normal music industry standards. So there is no superstar DJs, the music sales are very few, there is not the industry level of agents or publishers or all these sort of aspects that the normal, let's say the regular genres of music have to follow. So in a way, we all as a culture, as festivals, as artists, as labels, we've been always, the contact with the people and the artists and the promoters have been very strong. It's been very deep, it's been very solid, because nobody needs to obey to any standard rules on music industry. Why do you think this happens? Is this still, it just shows that the underground has a long life, and is this one of the most genuine movements? I would like to hear from all of you guys about it.
Well, with regards to the underground qualities of the psytrance movement and other underground forms of dance music, we wouldn't leave them out. It's a complete opposite of David Guetta. it's the complete opposite of what we now, unfortunately, have called for us EDM.
Yeah.
Electro de merde.
It's just so long may it stay like that, you know. Yeah, this great phrase that Laurent Garnier, the French DJ, said when he asked what does EDM mean, he said electro de merde. Very good. No, I mean, you know, electronic dance music as a definition, that's okay, but what it really means in terms of sort of like a genre, EDM is very, very commercial, very like lowest common denominator, not for us. And what we do here is like the polar opposite of that, and long may it continue.
Tell something about, you know, you're from France, so you know all the whole David Guetta thing. Again? Just about how, for instance, you can have the aspect of a label owner that always been very independent, struggling for survival, supporting artists, and at the same time delivering quality music. So this is like an amazing underground principle, how to deliver good music without the music industry standards.
Yeah, number one, it's about passion, pure and simple. It's about love for the music, love for the community. The label's always been for us more of a collective of friends and family. We've always considered everyone that's involved in the label as family. And it's very simple, it's very easy to promote people that you love and music that you love. And that's my passion since I was a teenager. Just wanting, you know, I want you to hear this. You got to hear this. It's really good, and that's I'm still doing that. And yes, it would be a dream come true to live off that, and it's not possible. You know, we do events ourselves, and we live off those, and those keep us alive, and food on the table, and it's the music is yeah, it's our art, it's our passion, and through those events we can, you know, keep pushing and keep promoting and sharing the music and getting it out there. Yeah, it's a great honor to work with such amazing artists and helping them to do that. But yeah, there's no road to riches, you know. But I think you're also talking about earlier about superstar DJs and that kind of thing. Yes, there are DJs within our community who do have a notoriety, but there's very few of them who you won't see standing at the bar afterwards. You can't go up to. They're not being rushed off with a limo somewhere. You know, they're accessible, and I think that's a beautiful thing. It's not. Most of the DJs I know, artists, you'll see them in the dance hall at some point as well. You know, they're here because they love it. They want to be part of it. Yeah. And I think that speaks, you know, amazingly of the culture and what we have going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Regan said. That it's like for us, it's almost like a hunger. You know, and we've got this hunger. We want to keep discovering new things, new ways of doing our sound, new people to work with, new people to meet, new places to play. And we always say now, because obviously you mentioned we've been doing it for quite a while. If we don't have that hunger, we're not going to do it anymore. We'll just go and live on a beach or something. You know. We just got this need to keep on going, and got a passion, and it's very important. It's the key thing.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do as well with the technique, and in all these many years I've been doing this music. The techno, the way sound were made is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and it permits people to do more and more, to play more and more in all those places like here or on top of Annapurna or whatever, and invite a lot of new people that are fantastic. And for me, it has a lot to do with the machine as well, because if you need a room, like when I start synthesizer, you needed a room like this room to do just one chord. So
Yeah.
That's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, it has a lot to do with the machines.
Yeah.
But then I love the machines.
Technology is very important as well, for sure. Yeah, I think you touched one, and before we address questions to you guys, because what we want is to have this place where we all share ideas and experiences, not only them playing and you dancing, now we can all come together and talking and thinking together. One of the things that you talked about, Regan, is the passion, the love, and for sure, also we as part of the Boom, there is nothing stronger than the love for what you do, because this scene is not a business-oriented thing. It's not something that you do with a perspective of any materialist thing. It's just about the love and the passion about the whole thing. Also, there is one thing about the passion, which is in comparison with different decades. For instance, psychedelic movement and culture has been very connected with some social change. In the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s went a bit down. But in the 90s, with the whole Summer of Love in the late 80s and the whole rave culture, psychedelia was once again in the middle of social change. Nowadays, we see our festivals, our psychedelic trance festivals, they are probably the only place where people from all over the world, they interconnect, they interchange. So the global culture is fully expressed in psytrance culture, in festivals, in events, and you have been witnessing for sure this in all your travels. Is this the vocation of psytrance culture or psychedelic culture nowadays? Is bringing people together from all over the world in comparison with which was in the late 60s or 70s, which was a very political approach? What do you think about it? Or is it just a way for people to have fun? What are your thoughts on it?
Please no. I'm all for fun. But I think if we got this amount of people, even less than this amount of people, a small gathering, just the concept of having a gathering with people, if we've got music there as the character for people there, whether they're not in touch with what's really going on in the world around them, but it's just an amazing forum to share ideas. And I think that's always been a key thing for me, is we've got this amazing musicians and artists, visual artists who can do things that are going to excite people, but once together we can just move forward on so many things. And coming together like this, meeting these guys. I've been to a few countries with them now, and they were my heroes, and now they're friends. And you get to a point where, and then you're sharing ideas and learning from each other, and that's the same with everyone here. You might be sitting next to someone that you just met 5 minutes ago, and they might be telling you about permaculture, which you never thought of, and now tomorrow you're going to go for a lecture about that, and in a year's time, maybe you've got a permaculture garden in your back garden. Yeah. And I think it's important that we keep that essence. I think that was one of the things that first attracted me to dance music. I think when I was into psychedelic music, didn't have go yet. But it's the concept that there's more to it. Even the music and the songs, the samples that get used. Also, I give some artists a lot of time about it, because let's keep it positive. Let's put some positive messages out in the dance floor. Yes, it's great to have something funny and quirky, or that's going to catch attention as people remember your song. But ideally, I think if we can really all focus, just keep focus on the positive, just in our own little way. Okay, let's just a little bit of consciousness here, a little bit of consciousness there. That's what separates us from that EDM world. Yeah. Someone eloquently wrote on the back of a toilet here, remember your boom spirit, this is not Tomorrowland. And that's been going on in my head the whole day. And I think that's what separates, this kind of event and this community and the music. Yeah. There's something different. It's not just made to kind of for radio hits and gone today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. Yeah. I think most of the musicians as well ultimately want to communicate something, and they're all learning. Because events like this, we have, I think it's album covers as a basic example, working with various visionary artists, and then we come here and then the musicians are sharing ideas with the visionary artists, and next thing those ideas are coming out in the music, and the musicians' ideas are coming out in the art. And it's, the extension of art as a collective again. It's a beautiful thing. I really think we've got to keep focused. That's what makes us special.
Good. The co-creation and the cooperative side and the interchange of ideas is for sure one of the most important aspects.
Yeah, connection with social movements and social change and the need thereof. One thing very important, in the 60s and 70s, in the underground psychedelic movements, there was always a big debate, a big division between people who thought that one should be hyper politically active and that music, particularly sort of drug oriented music, was escapism and it wasn't doing anything and people were just wasting their time doing it. And on the other side of the debate was people who said, well look, the only way meaningful change can happen is if individual people are the change, you be the change. And so psychedelic music is actually a positive thing because it offers catalysts and triggers for people to sort of develop their consciousness and view of the world and view of their place in the world. Now, we were always more to that side of the debate, and I think that debate remains now. I mean, frankly, I don't see sort of going to have a violent demonstration fighting the police with sort of psytrance in the headphones. I mean, that just doesn't work. I mean, it's daft, and I don't even know if that necessarily is going to produce a change. It's I'm more a sort of thing of an individual. You be the change.
Yeah. All right, let's open the conversation. Who has a microphone for our dear boomers? We can start here and then we go all around.
Hi. I was wondering whether the panel thought that Psytrance has maybe become a religion, because Psytrance is my religion. I can assure you of that. And I don't know if anyone was here at Zora 2009 and Sonica Reloaded, but I set up a website called www.psytrancesmyreligion.com with a tagline, crowdsourced enlightenment, because I believe that Psytrance is a religion. And the reason for that is I'm not talking about Psytrance music necessarily, I'm talking about the state of mind that you get into when you're on psychedelics listening to trance music. And it was when I did Janga for the first time, when I did DMT for the first time, that it gave me like a personal epiphany. And that was that we live in a holographic universe, because it gave me the experiential proof of that fact through the visions that I saw, and the fact that, as far as I'm concerned, it was like a multimedia holographic PowerPoint presentation by some extra-dimensional intelligence showing me the effects of DMT and like psychedelics in terms of a series of animations and visions, with my eyes closed. And
thanks for sharing.